I'm 63 years old, and I need to tell you something about war that nobody talks about. The real casualties aren't always the ones who die. Sometimes they're the ones who come home and spend the next 3 decades watching their life fall apart in slow motion. I was 28 when I deployed to the Gulf. Came back 6 months later, but the man who came back wasn't a father, wasn't a husband. He was just a ghost who couldn't stop seeing his best friend's face in the sand. My wife was 7 months pregnant when I got the call. January 1991. His name was Marcus Chen, from Sacramento. Wanted to open a restaurant when he got back. Fusion food, he called it. Used to draw menu ideas on napkins during our downtime. He had this habit of clicking his pen 3 times before writing anything down. Click, 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 click. I can still hear it. It was February 26, 1991. I remember because it was 2 days before the ceasefire. 2 days. We were on Highway 80. They'd call it the Highway of Death later. Our convoy was headed north when we saw the Iraqi column retreating. Command told us to hold position. Marcus was in the Humvee to my right, maybe 20 feet away. We'd been joking about baby names that morning. He said if I had a boy, I should name him Storm, since he'd be born during Desert Storm. I told him that was the dumbest idea I'd ever heard. Then I saw the RPG. It came from an overpass, streaked across my vision, slammed into Marcus's vehicle. The explosion lifted the Humvee off the ground. I watched it flip, watched it come down on its roof. The sound, metal tearing, fuel igniting. Then silence, just the ringing in my ears and the smell of burning rubber. I jumped out, ran toward the wreckage. The heat pushed me back. I could see Marcus through the shattered windshield. He was trapped, upside down, covered in blood. His eyes found mine. He didn't scream, didn't cry. He just looked at me and said, "Tell my mom I love her." Those were his last words, not fear, not pain. Just love for his mother. The fire reached him before I could. I stood there for I don't know how long, just stood there, staring at the flames, at the smoke turning the sky black, at the space where my best friend used to be. When the medics finally pulled me away, I realized I was holding his dog tags. Must have grabbed them somehow. Don't remember doing it. They were still warm. Here's what they don't tell you about war. The combat isn't the hardest part. Coming home is harder. The biggest lie I told myself for 34 years. I survived because I was supposed to be a father. But survival isn't purpose. Survival is 20 feet in chaos. Marcus was 20 feet to my right. That's all that separated life from death. And I've spent 3 decades trying to figure out why I deserved those 20 feet. My son was born on March 3rd, 1991, while I was still in Kuwait, still in that desert, still seeing Marcus's face every time I closed my eyes. I got the call on a satellite phone. My wife's sister, it's a boy, 8 pounds, 4 ounces. They're both healthy. She was crying, happy tears. I should have been crying too, should have been something, but I felt nothing, just empty. Because all I could think was Marcus will never hear his kids laugh. Marcus will never hold his child. And I'm about to come home and pretend I deserve to. I came back to America in April. Travis Air Force Base. My wife was there holding our son, our baby boy. She looked so happy, so relieved. She ran toward me. I couldn't hold him. I stood there with my arms at my sides, looking at this tiny human, this perfect thing. And all I could think was, I don't deserve this. Marcus deserved this. Not me. My wife's face when she realized something was broken. I'll never forget that look. Confusion. Then fear. Then understanding that the man she'd married didn't come home. I kept my promise to Marcus. I flew to Sacramento, found his mother, told her everything, told her he didn't suffer. That was the first lie I told as a civilian. But I couldn't tell her the truth, that he burned, that he was conscious, that he knew he was dying. At his funeral, they had a closed casket, nothing to bury, just an empty box and a flag. His mother gripped my hand during the service. said, "Thank you for trying to save him." I wanted to tell her I didn't try hard enough, that I stood there, that I watched, but instead I just nodded. I disappeared after that ceremony. Went to a bar, didn't come home for 3 days. I tried to be a good father. I swear I tried. But how do you hold a baby when your hands shake? How do you smile at your son's first steps when you're seeing bodies in the sand? How do you celebrate a first birthday when you're thinking, Marcus never made it to 24? My wife tried to understand. God, she tried. But how could she? She didn't know what it's like to watch your best friend burn alive, to come home and be expected to just move on, to pretend everything's normal when nothing will ever be normal again. I'd wake up screaming, 3-4 times a week. Same nightmare. I'm back on Highway 80, but this time I pull Marcus out, save him. Then I wake up and remember, I didn't. I just stood there. My wife would try to comfort me, hold me, tell me it's okay. But it wasn't okay. Nothing was okay. We had one child, my beautiful son. I tried to be there. Physically, I was present. But emotionally, I was still in that desert, still standing in front of that burning Humvee. When my son was 5, he asked me, "Daddy, did you shoot bad guys in the war?" Such an innocent question, kid stuff. I didn't answer, just walked out of the room, because the truth is, heroes die. Cowards like me come home and fail their families. I had good years, career, wise, got a job as a mechanic. Good with my hands, made decent money, bought a house, provided for my family. But none of it mattered, because every single day I woke up thinking, why am I alive and Marcus isn't? The worst part wasn't the nightmares. It was the good days, days when I'd laugh at something my son did, when he'd hug me and say, "I love you, Daddy," when my wife would smile at me across the dinner table, because immediately after the guilt would hit like a fist to the chest. How dare you be happy when Marcus is dead? I missed everything, not because I was deployed, because I was too broken to show up. I missed my son's first day of kindergarten, was too hungover to drive. I missed his little league games. Couldn't sit in crowds. Too many people, too much noise, made my heart race. I missed his middle school graduation, had a panic attack in the parking lot, sat in my truck instead. I was there, but I wasn't there. And my son, he stopped asking me to come, stopped expecting anything, just accepted that his dad was a shell. My wife held it together for 22 years. 22 years of trying to love a man who couldn't love himself, who couldn't be present, who spent every February 26th locked in the garage with a bottle of whiskey and Marcus's dog tags. When my son was 17, she sat me down. She'd lost weight, had these dark circles under her eyes. She looked exhausted, defeated. She said, "I love you. I'll always love the man I married. But that man didn't come home from the war, and I can't keep pretending he did. Our son needs a father. I need a husband. You need help that I can't give you." She didn't leave angry. She left sad. That was worse somehow. The divorce was finalized 3 months before our son's high school graduation. I wasn't invited. He went to college. University of Oregon, became a teacher. Got married, had a daughter, my granddaughter. I know this because I see photos on Facebook. I wasn't invited to his wedding, wasn't there when my granddaughter was born, history repeating. Just like I missed his birth. My ex-wife, she tried to keep me in the loop, would send updates, photos. Your son made Dean's List. Your granddaughter took her first steps. Each message was a reminder of what I'd wasted. She got sick 4 years ago. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Didn't tell anyone until it was too late to treat. I found out from our son. He called me for the first time in 15 years. "Mom's dying. She has maybe 3 months. She wants to see you." I drove to the hospice. She looked so small in that bed. Nothing like the strong woman who'd tried to save me, who'd tried to pull me back from the war that never ended. She took my hand, said, "Robert, I forgive you. I've always forgiven you. But you need to forgive yourself. You need to talk to your son before it's too late." She died 6 weeks later. I held her hand at the end, and I realized I'd wasted 25 years. 25 years of marriage to an incredible woman, and I was too buried in guilt to appreciate a single day of it. At her funeral, my son stood next to me, didn't speak to me, didn't look at me, just stood there, two strangers connected only by loss. Everything changed when I was 60. 3 years after my wife died, I was at the VA picking up medication, saw a group of vets meeting in one of the conference rooms. Gulf War veterans, the sign said. Something pulled me in. For the first time in 31 years, I told the whole story. Marcus, the fire. Coming home broken, missing my son's birth, ruining my marriage. All of it, this old Marine, probably 70, looked at me and asked, "What do you think Marcus would want you to do with your life?" I'd never thought about it that way. I told him I hadn't forgiven myself, that I didn't deserve to. He said, "Son, Marcus told you to tell his mother he loved her. He didn't tell you to spend the rest of your life in hell. He didn't tell you to destroy your family. He told you to deliver a message. And then he let you go." That conversation cracked something open in me. I started to understand. Surviving isn't a sin. It's a responsibility. Marcus didn't tell me to run so I could spend 3 decades drowning in guilt. He told me to live, to go home to my wife, to meet my son, to have the life he'd never have, but I'd wasted it, all of it. I reached out to my son. He was 33 by then, teaching high school English in Portland. I wrote him a letter, told him everything. The war, Marcus, why I couldn't be there, how sorry I was, how his mother tried to save me, how I failed them both. He didn't respond for 6 months. Then one day he called. "I have a daughter. Her name is Sarah. She's 3, and she asked me about her grandpa." I didn't know what to tell her. I asked if I could meet her. He said, "Mom told me before she died, your father is a good man who went through hell. Don't give up on him. We meet now, once a month. It's awkward, careful, but we're trying. My granddaughter calls me Pop, doesn't know the full story yet, just knows I'm the grandpa who brings her books." My son asked me last month, "Do you regret the war?" I told him the truth. I regret that I let the war take more than it had to. It took Marcus. It took my mind for a while. But I let it take you. I let it take your mother. That wasn't the war. That was me. That means I've lived 40 years that he didn't get. And for 34 of those years, I wasted them feeling guilty about surviving. I'm telling you this story because there's something you need to understand. You think you have time. You think the people you love will always be there. You think you can call them tomorrow. Hug them next week. Tell them you're sorry, eventually. Marcus thought he'd make it home, thought he'd open that restaurant, thought he'd meet someone, have kids, grow old. He was wrong. My wife thought we'd grow old together, that I'd heal, that we'd watch our son grow up as a team. She was wrong. I thought I had time to fix things, to be a better father, to tell my wife I appreciated her patience, to ask for forgiveness before cancer took her. I was wrong. Don't make my mistake. Don't wait for trauma to teach you what matters. Don't waste years carrying guilt over things you can't control. But more importantly, don't waste years failing to show up for the people who love you. Call the people you love today. Right now, tell them what they mean to you. Apologize for the ways you failed them. Ask for the help you need. Because one day, without warning, they'll be gone. And you'll spend the rest of your life wishing you'd said the things you were too proud or too broken to say. Life is fragile, random, unfair. The best people die at 23. Good marriages dissolve because one person can't let go of the past. Cancer takes mothers before they see their grandchildren grow up. There's no justice to it, no meaning you can extract, just chaos and 20 feet that separate life from death. But here's what I've learned. You can't control who lives and who dies. You can only control what you do with the time you're given. Marcus has been gone for 34 years, but I carry him with me every single day, in the way I'm trying to show up for my son now, in the way I'm learning to be present for my granddaughter, in the way I'm finally learning to live. I'm 63 years old. If I'm lucky, maybe 20 more years. And when I die, I want to look Marcus in the eye and tell him I didn't waste all of it. I lived enough for both of us. I want to see my wife and tell her I finally got help. I finally showed up. I'm sorry it took so long. You don't need to go to war to understand what I'm saying. You just need to understand that time is limited, that the people you love won't always be here, that every moment you waste being absent emotionally, mentally, is a moment you'll never get back. My son will never get his childhood back. Those baseball games I missed, those graduations, those moments when he needed a father and got a ghost instead. Don't wait. Don't postpone. Don't tell yourself you'll be better someday. Be better now. Show up now. Get the help now. Because someday you'll run out of time, and all you'll have left is regret. If this story means something to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Comment below and tell me, who are you going to call today? What relationship are you going to stop neglecting? Subscribe if you want to hear more stories like this. I've got a few more left to tell before my time runs out. The clock is ticking for all of us. What are you going to do with your time?